You know that I'ma keep it cool. With you I feel like breaking rules. On the edge, looking out with no parachute. You know I'm dreaming about us too. Playing around without a clue. On the edge, leaning out. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing. But guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing. But guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave.
Thanks for tuning in to SelfWorth by Omobola Stephen. Now, here's a favorite quote from Bruce H. Lipton. He once said, "I learned again and again in my life, until you get your own act together, you're not ready for big love. What you're ready for is one of those codependent relationships where you desperately need a partner." You want to know more about codependency? Listen to my guest discussion in a bit.
Had to convince my friends this time. Think you're toxic to my mind, but I know they don't know what you're all about. The way you hold my body tight, staying up talking through the night. Yeah, I know they just don't. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh.
Sometimes I get feedbacks. "Oh, Omobola, how can we catch up with missed episodes of your talk show?" So I'm going to reel them out for you. You can search online for SelfWorth by Omobola Stephen on Stitcher on Backtracks, on Portnife, on Himalaya, on Podcast Addict, on Google Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Joseven, on Amazon Music, on Podchaser, YouTube, on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on iRadio, on Listen Notes, on Deezer, on Castbox, on Radio Public, on Player FM, on Anchor, and some others.
But guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing. But guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. I need more of. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Now, here's Dana Humphrey on codependency and how to overcome it. So, I need you to listen up.
So, Dana and I met some few weeks ago while doing what we know how to do best, that is collaborating and supporting one another. So she's so open and very others concerned. That's basically what I've observed about her. And I think that's really what got me attracted to her. I listened to some of our discussions and thought, why can't I bring her on to come share a bit more about our journey? And I tell you, Dana is very loaded. You need to listen to a conversation. Now, Dana is a life coach, author. She's also a lead publicist and CEO at Whitegate PR. And the pet lady, she's also the co-founder, New York NYC Retails and Sales, Pet Expo, and also a course instructor at NYC Business Solutions. And so welcome with me on Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, Dana Humphrey. Hi, Dana.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Yeah. So how are you doing today?
Excellent. So good to be here. It's a beautiful sunny day in New York.
Oh, that's great. I can see you are a lover of pets. Can you tell me more about pets?
Yeah, sure. So I'll tell you a little story. I grew up in California, and we had a dog named Winston, and he was a pug, a little smush faced dog. And I moved down to San Diego, to Southern California, to go to university. And my parents decided to move to Thailand. And so during that time, our family dog Winston moved in with me. So when I was looking for a job after college, I started working in the pet industry. So I started working for a pet boutique called Metropolis, and Winston got to come to work with me every day. So that was really the beginning of my pet adventures and working in the pet industry. And now I've been in the pet industry for about 15 years. I've become the pet lady. I have the trademark. I do lots of TV segments talking about tips and tricks for pet owners. And really, you know, and I had the PR firm, Whitegate PR, which I still run. And mainly we do public relations for pet companies. But really what I've learned along the way is that, one, I really want to help people. I'm really interested in helping people more than helping big companies make more money. And also seeing a trend in, as I do my own work and my own self-development, seeing how a lot of pet owners are using pets as a crutch to maybe not have human interactions and have their pet be their, you know, number one companion. And so that's really been the impetus for me to kind of shift over from pets into personal development, and also to be writing this book that I'm working on right now about codependency and pets.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And I adopted these two cats a couple of months ago. They're 1 year old.
Right. Wow,
So
great.
Sassy's right behind me here, and Chance is around the house somewhere. And they are brother and sister, and they're my little babies.
Wow. Oh, that's very interesting. Well done. So I want you to tell me a bit about your codependency struggles and how you overcame it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think at this point, at least in the United States or North America, everyone is a little bit codependent these days. And for me, it really started with my family, with my parents and my family unit, and just, you know, being raised in a codependent household and learning to be a people pleaser and all the different things that go along with it. But really what brought my awareness to this was my last relationship. Now looking back, every romantic relationship I've ever been in has been codependent, but I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that until this most recent relationship, which ended about 3 years ago. And that was a big wake-up call for me. That was a huge wake-up call. I really see it as an initiation. I think that I needed to go through that relationship so I could have the awakening that I did, so that I can see the patterns of my life and be able to recognize my own piece in it, not just continue to blame and say, oh, what's wrong with all these other people? It's like, okay, there's something going on here. There's something,
you're right.
You know,
you're definitely right.
And so, you know, basically, let's see, it's January of 2017. I broke up with my partner at the time. And since then, I've just been doing a lot of research about codependency. I, you know, spend a lot of time listening to books and lectures and YouTubes about codependency and the human magnet syndrome and narcissism and the, you know, lots of different, you know, mental health. I study mental health. You know, at this point, I'm like, have my own degree that I gave myself in all these studies that I've done.
Wow.
and I also worked with, a life coach who was a therapist, and, I've really put in a lot of work, and now I see things crystal clear. And now it's like, I can spot codependency and narcissism and different things like faster, it's not a perfect thing, and it's a continual work in progress, but I find it fascinating. I find it a fascinating area of study, and I see it so pervasive in our culture right now.
Wow. So does it mean that if I choose to codepend, does it mean that I have low self-value or low self-what?
Of course.
Why did you say so?
Well, it's, recognize, it's like putting your mask on first. It's filling your cup up first. It's realizing that you're number one for you, and no one else you're not going to be number one else for anyone else. Like, you have to be number one for you. And that comes from self-esteem, self-worth, self-value, self-care, self-love. It comes from all these things of, how can you put yourself first so that you can be so overflowing with all the goodies that you are, that you can share that with another person. If you are like outward seeking for someone else to give you that, it's never going to work out. It's always going to be this spiral. And so it definitely goes hand in hand.
That's right. And sort of this, though people you're trying to get acceptance from, at the point they get to begin to resent you, right? Because it's just like you're throwing yourself at them, So I quite don't agree with what you said.
Well, so if you're ever giving from a place of condition, right? Like, I'm giving this to you so I can get this, then it's not, and then that person doesn't give you what you're expecting, then you resent them. If you're giving from a place of, I have, all the colors in the jar and I want to give you one because I have plenty. It's different than, I want to give you a blue one because I need the pink one from you.
I understand. Not being selfish. Right.
It's, selfish is such a charged word. I mean, but it is, like, be okay with being selfish. It's okay to be self-focused. Like, you are here. You are magic. You are divine. Like, focus on yourself. It's okay. I think, anyone that's worried about being too selfish, like, you're good. Like, you need to be if that's part of your thought process, like, well, I don't want to be too selfish, then it's not really a problem for you. Right. As someone who is selfish wouldn't think that way. So, correct. I think it's actually giving ourselves permission to be selfish and saying, yes, okay, I can help myself first. I can take care of myself and make sure I'm good to go, so then I can be of service.
Absolutely. So, do you have, what are the signs of a codependency person, and how can one overcome it?
Pardon me?
Is it really a bad thing? Codependency syndrome.
Judging something as good and bad is can be another barrier to be, living your best life. But I think if, I think of myself of just how the way that I used to walk around, or even like I like to dance. Like, even the way I used to dance used to be as a seeker, like, who's watching me, whose eyes can I get attention from? This seeker mode of like, what attention can I get? How can I get this focus on me? Versus like, if I'm focused on myself already, then I don't need to seek it out. I'm good. And then if you give me attention or you give me something, it's like, great. I'm,
that's right.
Perfect.
That's right.
I mean, it can show up as, anxiety, having a lot of anxiety. It kept endlessly giving, right? Giving. Like, well, if I just give, if I take care of everyone, I'll be taken care of. And then, you end up like laying out sick and no one's making soup for you. And you have no more soup ingredients.
You fill in the blank spaces.
Yeah.
Almost all the time.
Perfectionism can also be a way that it shows up, like needing things to be perfect. I believe everyone's an artist, but I am an artist and I like to create. And I definitely have that where it's like the balance of, making something that, you feel good about, that you want to share it with the world, versus not ever sharing it because you're waiting for it to be perfect. So I think that's a line that we walk as well of, is it perfect enough? And, it's kind of like just, I try to get the word perfect out of my vocabulary. I don't even use it anymore. I substitute it. Whenever I'm going to say, I think I'm going to say perfect, I try to substitute it with excellent.
That's right.
Because it doesn't help that much.
It sucks.
Another way that codependency, another sign is feeling invisible. It's like you want to be seen. It's so complicated to understand in a short, brief amount of time, but because there's so many parts to it. But it's like not, for me, it was like not being able to be myself as a child. So then developing a false self shell, and then feeling and then really trying to show off that false self to the world, and having no one ever see me as that because it's not real, and then feeling discouraged. And so it's like, my process is like trying to, be as authentic as I can all the time, which it's a process, it's, so that I see myself and then I can be seen.
Right.
Sometimes it shows up as neurotic, like making sure, like double checking the locks a couple of times, or making sure your pencils are in order. It's a control mechanism, right? Like I feel like out of control in the world. So if I control my, pens in this very specific way, in these neurotic kind of ways, then, life has order and I can control it.
Right.
So, those are some of the ways. I think, people pleasing, manipulating, I had to really look at myself in the mirror in that one, it's like, and understanding how people pleasing is manipulating. I was so, after my last breakup, I was so ready to say, oh, they're a manipulator. It's like, no, like, when you make cookies for someone, what are you really trying to do? What's your, what are you trying to get there? How are you manipulating the situation?
That's your motive. You need to check your motive, your intentions. I get it.
Yeah.
Right. So you launched your PR company for pet products manufacturers way back in 2007. What was the inspiration?
Well, I was in a codependent relationship in San Diego, and I was an employee. I was working for the Metropolis, like I mentioned, and my partner at the time was self-employed, and he was encouraging me to start my own company because he wanted me to work with him. And so I did. I launched the PR firm, and really my first client was one of his clients. And so that was, I'm really grateful for that push, to go forward and become an entrepreneur. He really, gave me the confidence to do that, but he was motivated for me to work with his clients so that he didn't have to. But eventually I broke up with him and moved to New York and went full time with my PR company. And I had already been, working in the pet industry, and it just seemed like a good place to continue working. I had a lot of contacts there. So, since 2007, I've been running Whitegate PR. And then along the way, I started the Pet Lady. And then I also am the co-founder of the NYC Retails and Sales Pet Expo. It's like a mini pet trade show in New York that we do.
Right.
So we've done, this year's the 8th annual.
Wow.
For that show as well.
Oh, brilliant. You're doing a great job. Brilliant. So, what advice can you give to someone that is struggling with achieving balance in this 21st century? I think balance is overrated. Can you just delve more into it?
You think balance is overrated?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'd love to learn more about that.
All right.
I mean, balance. I think balance is really important.
Right.
I mean, at this point in my life, and I think actually COVID has been a really big wake-up call for the planet and the world to have people slow down, look at their lives, see how they're actually living, and see like what's working, what's not working. For me, balance, involves everything. It involves my sleep, my food, my meditation, my activity, my sunlight. Everyone's perfect balance looks a little bit different. But for me, it's involves a lot of self-care. And if I'm out of balance, it's like everything in life is happening for us, and we are always creating it. So if you're creating your world from an unbalanced place,
That'll be chaos or what?
yeah, I mean, you're just creating more chaos for yourself.
That's right. So you need to strike a balance, understanding your priorities and be able to balance them. I always believe also that you need to have your priorities handy, know which is important, know which is not important, and also work on that. And at the end of the day, be able to balance those priorities when necessary. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's right. So,
yes.
That's right. So when a woman holds power, maybe because she's earning a lot of, money, or perhaps she has it going in a career, does it mean that, she's superior to her husband?
Sorry, what is that? If someone has a lot of money, they might not be balanced?
Yeah, no, I'm talking in terms of feminine leadership now. Women
okay.
leadership doesn't mean when a woman is earning more than the husband, perhaps, or doing really well in her career, doesn't mean she's superior to her husband.
Oh yeah, of course not. Yeah. No, I mean, dominance and submission is like a whole nother conversation, but I definitely believe that, in this day and age, we can have shared responsibilities and shared earnings and live in harmony. And it's no one's strengths or weaknesses are better or worse than anyone else's. It's just differences.
That's right. Sure. Thank you so much. So do you have any projects you're working on presently?
Pardon me?
Do you have any projects you're working on presently? Do you have any project?
Yes, the main project I'm working on right now is the book. I am I'm almost done. It's going to be launching soon. And really just, my desire is to inspire pet owners, pet parents, as we call them, dog moms, cat moms, especially, to just evaluate, especially single pet parents, to evaluate their relationships with, and just how they're living, and maybe clue into some of these signs of what codependency looks like, and have a little bit more awareness about it. And my encouragement is to help people overcome their fear of, I like to call it the extreme sport of human relating. It's like, if you've been in a codependent relationship before and you've been hurt, and you didn't really understand all the details of what was happening, instead of just saying, that's it, I'm not dating anymore, I'm not having any more relationships, I'm just gonna have my dog and I'm good. It's like, let's go dig in there a little bit more and just have a little bit more awareness about what maybe was happening and how you can prevent that from happening again.
You're right. Thank you once again. It's been lovely, Omobola Stephen. I've been hanging around with Dana Humphrey, and really, that's a really, really loaded for me. Dana and I met some weeks ago, as I said earlier, and now what Dana does is that she's a life coach. She's also an author, a lead publicist and CEO at Whitegate PR, and she's also the pet lady, as she's often called. She's the co-founder, NYSE Retails and Sales, Pet Expo, and a course instructor at NYSE Business Solutions. So it's been a worthwhile having this talk show with you. So do you have any parting word for my listeners?
Yes. One of my favorite quotes that I'll leave you all with is, don't copy the world, be a different person with a fresh newness in all you do and think.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. Thank you once again for coming around on the show. Thank you for your time. I'm really, really super excited having you come share a bit of your story, to us. I hope some other time we can do this, again.
Yes. Excellent.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Wish you all the best.
You as well.
Right.
Making moves, trying to get away from this life I'm living. Same old things every day, wanna change this feeling. Wasting no more time, don't care about what you're saying.
Thank you for tuning in. Let's do this some other time with all my love. Kiss, kiss.
Try to keep me down, no time for all your playing. Yeah, even if you doubt me now, you should know I don't care about